of Shaggy. It wasn't me. Let us know on 084 221 919. But it is time for us to do our property segment, and he's back. He's in the hot seat. And we say a very good afternoon to Harry, who's joining us from Etchells and Young. Good afternoon, Harry. Lucky to have you back.
Hi there, Alf. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Great to be back.
Yeah. So today we're chatting about the property market and when's the best time to buy, when's the best time to sell. I suppose it's not like a used car where you go, all right, the best time to sell is when the petrol price buggers up all the way to 20 odd rand a litre and I'm driving a diesel. That's the best time to sell, you would imagine. Not that you're going to get a hell of a lot for it anyway because of the diesel price, but property, I would imagine, does not work like that.
No, not quite. Obviously, as I'm sure all the listeners who are involved in property are aware, this runs in cycles, and you have what we call a buyer's market and a seller's market. But ultimately, the best time to buy or sell, well, there's two things I can guarantee you, and that number one, today is not going to be the best time you can sell your property.
Yeah.
And number two, today may well not be the worst time to sell your property because things are going to change. So,
of course.
And it's up to the individual and what you're looking to get out of your purchase or sale.
Yeah. So what are the property stats saying right now, though?
Yeah, quite interesting, and we're still about 15% down in terms of a house price index and volumes of transactions from pre-COVID. So from 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first one. Secondly, we are 150 basis points down in interest rates since 2024.
And I suppose that's got a lot to do with buying or selling a property.
Exactly. That is probably our single biggest immediate factor that influences when people want to buy or sell. So, prime currently right now is at 10.25%, and usually in today's market, most people are going to get prime, maybe prime plus, whereas 10 years ago it was always prime minus.
Yeah.
So prime is a good indicator, and you should probably base your research on that when you're looking at your affordability.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, as of end of last year, nationally the house prices were 3.2% up on the year before, but that's nationally. So Cape Town and the coastal regions were significantly higher than that, and Gauteng, Joburg particularly as a whole, and obviously very different in different areas, suburbs, was probably just under 3% for the year.
But again, I suppose that also depends on location. It's all about location, isn't it?
Absolutely, and it goes further than just location, because you can take a suburb as a good suburb, in inverted commas, and a bad suburb. But then within that good suburb, you're going to have a great street. Everyone wants to be in this road.
Yeah.
And in that road, you're going to have a dog of a house, and you're going to have a peach of a house. So it does change quite a lot, even within good and not so good suburbs.
Yeah. Something totally off topic, but we have seen, especially on social media, certain politicians expressing lack of service delivery in certain upmarket areas. Would that affect buying or selling of a house?
Absolutely.
When something like that happens?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So service delivery in general is a problem that we face in most cities and metros around South Africa, and it definitely has a big impact. And it drives this sort of negative sentiment, just like a positive sentiment when people become upbeat, because things are looking good. It drives it up for no apparent reason, and in the same way, a negative sentiment will drive the property down as well.
Okay. Does the season or the time of the year have impact as to when to sell or buy a house?
No, absolutely it does. And as I said, it drives that sentiment. So come springtime, after a long cold winter, and we shedding the jackets and we're hitting the sunshine, people then generally feel more in the mood for maybe house hunting, and
almost like a spring clean. Let's get rid of the old and in with the new kind of vibe. Yeah.
That is true, but also, there's it doesn't mean that there's only a good or a bad season. So typically, that springtime is when people generally are feeling more upbeat, and they go and look. So buyers start being a bit more active. But if you take the opposite of that, in winter, most people are not really looking to buy a property, but all of the homes that are on the market that haven't sold in the spring are still on the market. So you're potentially going to have a seller now who wants to do a deal and is more motivated, I guess is the right terminology.
Because he's been waiting for a while,
Because
right?
he's now been waiting for a while.
Yeah.
And if you are an astute buyer and you're looking to buy, hey, winter is actually a great time to buy, because you can negotiate yourself a pretty good deal.
Very nice. What is the best area or suburb in Joburg to buy a property? Now, I'm throwing every suburb that all our listeners obviously live in a certain suburb in Joburg, and they are waiting with bated breath that you mentioned their suburb of choice.
Well, I think that's obviously a bit of a trick question, because the suburb that suits me might not be the suburb that suits you.
Fair enough.
So your factors that are driving you to buy, are you upscaling? Are you downscaling? Are you moving closer to work?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're now going to work 4 times a week and not once a week anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Are you getting closer to schools for the kids?
Mm-hmm.
So all of those factors are going to determine what the best suburb is for you. And generally speaking, and again, as I mentioned earlier, even within that suburb, there's certain areas and there's certain estates that are fantastic and sought after. You may have a fantastic estate that's not in the best suburb, but because the estate is well run, is popular, has excellent security, solar, backup water, and all of the amenities you may need, that might be a driver as well. So I don't think there's one suburb that is generally better than others. Obviously, we might say, flippin' Sandhurst is an excellent suburb and I want to live there.
Yeah.
But if I can't afford the 25 or 30 million bucks to buy a house, it's then going to be a moot point.
Absolutely. Are we in a buyer's or a seller's market at the moment? And just explain to our listeners what that does mean.
Okay, so great question. And generally, when there are more buyers in the market than sellers, it's going to drive the price up, because it's supply and demand.
Yes.
Right now, we are definitely in more of a buyer's market. In other words, there's more sellers than buyers, and buyers can start being picky. So that is when you have a buyer's market. And just if we look back at the stats, the current listing price that markets are going onto the property in Joburg is just over 3 million rand. So that's the average price that houses are being listed at.
Yeah.
It means it's telling you that there's a lot of more expensive houses being listed as well. The average selling price, once those houses sell, 1.3 million.
Wow.
So this doesn't mean that people are taking a 2 million rand bath on their price.
Yes.
It just means that the market is lower than what the average is being listed.
And it might just mean that there's a lot less properties of higher value being sold than there are of mid-range value.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's exactly it. So your less expensive properties are selling and selling more than your more expensive properties. So yeah, that's it.
And then what is the best advice you'd give to a buyer in this market? Like
So-
if I'm out to buy a house, what's the best advice you can give?
I mean, I think we spoke about it all with Les briefly last week as well.
Yeah.
And as a buyer, first of all, check your finances. What can you afford? Do a pre-qualification, chat to your bank, chat to a bond originator, and let them give you a number. This is what you can afford. Make sure you take into account all the extra costs, because there's transfer duties if the house is above, I think it's 1.2 million rand now. I think there are quite a few other additional costs that you have to take care of in your budget monthly. If you're a buyer, you need to take care of your own maintenance, rates and taxes, levies, and all of that kind of thing. So get your financial ducks in a row. Do your research. Which area? We spoke about areas. Which area do you want to buy in? What can you afford in that area that you're going to qualify for?
Yeah.
Also, I think we spoke about last week or the week before that the biggest reason why sales deals are cancelled and don't go forward is because a buyer doesn't get his bond. He thinks he knows what he's going to get, but he doesn't actually do the work, doesn't do the research. So get your ducks in a row, know what you can afford, and do some research. Make sure you know what all the costs are going to be, not just in the initial upfront purchase price, plus deposit, plus transfer duties, plus, but also in the monthly budget of the additional costs that you're now going to carry.
Yeah, which makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, a house valued at 4 million might cost you in the region of 5 million at the end of the day.
Exactly, and especially if there's stuff to be done that's maybe unforeseen, or if you want to make a few changes and alterations to
maybe you want to
put
put on a boundary wall around the house. Maybe there isn't a boundary wall on that house.
Exactly,
it's going to cost you a couple of rand. And now I'm going to turn the cards and say, what would be your best advice when it comes to selling or being a seller in this market?
So, and especially in this market where there's lots of sellers, so there's a lot of competition amongst sellers, and there's fewer buyers, so hence the buyer's market. But first of all, make sure that you price your home realistically. Don't price your house for a seller's market when the sellers dictate the terms and conditions.
Fair enough.
Know that things are potentially going to struggle a bit, because right now the average, to throw another stat in, that a house is on the market, the average is 3 months, 12 weeks. So it's a long time for the house to sit there. And then as soon as we spoke about the price bands, in a higher price band, that goes up significantly as well. So make sure you price your house significantly and realistically. Know what the minimum amount is that you can accept if you do get an offer, so that it's not a cat and mouse game, because you must also know that buyers in this market are going to negotiate with you. Of course, yeah. And then the second thing is, what can you do that's going to differentiate your house from the neighbor who's also in the market? So how are you going to present your house? What are the extras and the amenities that you have? If you have backup, water, solar, proper fiber lines, those are things people want to almost take for granted these days. So if you don't already have it, think about it. But be careful before you go and spend a whole lot of money on renovations or extras, and you're on a tight budget as it is, and you need to get the house sold quickly.
Now, if I was going to sell my house, how do I find out what the value of my house is? Is there a certain do I just pick up a property magazine and have a look what my neighbour's selling their house for, and kind of thumbsuck around? If they're selling it for 3.5 million, I'll go in at 3. Maybe it's a hit, maybe it's a miss, or is there an evaluation of some kind?
So there's a difference, and I'm probably not going to go down that thing now, between a proper valuation and a market analysis. So any qualified estate agent or property practitioner can give you a comparative market analysis. And they've got access to a couple of tools, deeds office registries, and they can go and see, what the houses up and down your street and in your suburb have sold for, actually sold for. And obviously you can do a quick, if you're a DIY kind of person, analysis on what's currently listed, because you can do some quite nice different types of viewings on the different property portals, and you can see in your area for these amount of bedrooms, this is what's currently available. But just bear in mind, that's what's listed and not what's actually selling. So the best advice, again, is speak to a qualified property practitioner or agent in your area that that understands what's happening in that area, and get them to give you a comparative market analysis.
Nice. Well, let me give you some details. If you want to get hold of Etchells and Young, you can send them an email, or you can actually go to their website, which is Etchells and Young. It's ETCHELLSANDYOUNG.co.za, and you'll find all the contact details that you need on that website. So go to their website. That website again, etchellsandyoung.co.za. Harry, you have given us all the information that we need, I suppose, when it comes to buying and selling a house. And now I think it's time that we find out what is in the market. And thanks to Kerry Schultz, I think is her name. Yeah. She's actually on the line. She is going to bring us our property of the week, which I'm very excited about. So, Kerry, a very good afternoon to you. Let us know, what is your property of the week?
Hi, Al. Thank you so much. I'd love the opportunity to share a beautiful rental I've recently listed in Hurlingham. It's a 3-bedroom, 3.5 bathroom home, all on one level. It does have a separate study. It's very spacious, very bright. All 3 bedrooms open out onto the garden, which has a beautiful swimming pool. The home also offers backup solar and excellent security. Well, for a home like this in Hurlingham, you're looking at 55,000 Rand per month. But what's great is that almost everything is included on this one. Security, fiber, garden and pool maintenance. It's just prepaid electricity and water. That's for the tenant's account. A really big benefit is that Etchells & Young is going to be managing this one. This really does give our clients peace of mind. If anybody would like to view this property, they can reach me on 078 046 0200 or email me. My email is kerrys@etchellsandyoung.co.za, and that is KERIS@ETCHELLSANDYOUNG.co.za. Thanks so much.
That is your property of the week. If you want more details, etchellsandyoung.co.za. Harry, I suppose on that note, thanks for coming in. Thanks for I suppose educating us when it comes to buying or selling a house. I think a lot of people have learned quite a bit today when it comes to buying and selling, and when the right and the wrong time is. I don't think, like you said a little earlier on, is there a right time and is there a wrong time?
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Al. Only a pleasure. Great to be here again. And yeah, I look forward to next week.
Indeed. Where you'll bring us a whole lot more great tips when it comes to property. Looking forward to that. Anyway, let's continue with the music. Here's Leonard Skinner now. Simple Man.